Hello everyone, welcome back to another session by K21 Academy. Today our experts trainer will be discussing about cloud formation. So let's get into the video.
Now, as I said, this CloudFormation service is going to use a template file. That is the file or a code what you write. That is a template file what you will have to provide the CloudFormation. Where in that template is where you will have all the details on your requirement, what is needed and what has to be created or a provisioned. Now that template file is what we call it as a CloudFormation template. And this particular template is written in you can write it in two languages. One is a JSON, or you can use a YAML language. So JSON has its own syntax, YAML has its own syntax. Whichever you're comfortable with, you can use any of these programming languages through which you're going to describe your infrastructure required, and based on that, your CloudFormation is going to provision it to you. So using a CloudFormation designer, so we also have a CloudFormation designer, or you can also create it using any text editor tool. So YAML and JSON is supported in all the IDEs. You can also develop them in your IDEs as well. Visual Studio Code you can use Eclipse, and there you can also configure. You can code your template, and you can modify and you can view this template. So we also have a CloudFormation designer, which I'm going to show you later. So that will also give you a visibility kind of a architectural diagram of your code. So in your code, whatever the resources you create, accordingly it is going to give you the outline diagram of what all the services which gets created from this code, so which is very helpful for you to analyze, right? So this we call it as a template. This particular file or this particular code, what we provided into the CloudFormation, it is called a template. And it is a programming language. It has several elements or major elements in that, where you have different sections for different purposes. Now it is pretty common in any of the programming languages. Like that, here also we have different stages or different sections in which each of the sections are used for different purposes. So as you can see, these are the major elements when you're working with the CloudFormation template. So the first one is a format version. So format version, which will help you to give a version ID to it of your code, and this will be typically used for identifying each of the template uniquely. And you have a description section where you can describe what your template is doing. You can add the text so that it can have a good readability. Your metadata section, any additional information about the code you can specify in the metadata section. Your parameter section is where if you want to provide the input to your particular CloudFormation during the runtime. There are several things where you do not prefer to hard code things, right? So for example, let's say if I am running a EC2 virtual machine, I do not want to hard code the key pair for it, because that code key pair information is very specific to me and specific to my account. In that case, I want to give certain information during a runtime where my CloudFormation template is running. That time I want to give certain information during the runtime. So that is where we use a parameter section, right? We're going to use a parameter section to provide it in the runtime. So we also have a mapping section. So mapping section is basically a key value mapping, what it does. Now, for example, EC2 virtual machine, if I want to create an EC2 virtual machine, there are several details I have to give, like your AMI ID, your instance type, your storage, your security groups, your tagging. There are a lot of details I have to give. In that, your AMI ID, right? Whatever we use, that AMI ID are unique for region to a region. The AMI ID for Amazon Linux 2 in US North Virginia region will be different from the AMI ID in the Oregon region, Mumbai region, Australia region, or anywhere else. It varies from region to region. Like that, there are several configurations which varies from region to region. Now, in that case, if I'm writing a template, and if I'm hard coding a AMI ID, what will happen? This particular template is gonna only run in North Virginia. If I run the same template in a Oregon or Australia region, Sydney region, or a Singapore region or a UK region, it will not work, because that AMI ID is not present in that. Now, in this scenario, if I want to enhance the usability of my particular CloudFormation template, I will have to come up with a strategy where the single template has to be run by any account, and it has to be run by any region. In any region, I just need to run that file in any region. I want my EC2 virtual machine to be up and running. In that case is where you can use a mapping section, where you can map each of the regions to their AMI IDs or the versions. Now, what will happen if you use a mapping section? There, it is going to get the details from which region you are running your particular CloudFormation template, and from that it is going to look into the AMI ID of that particular region, and it is going to create a EC2 virtual machine in that particular region. So that is where mapping will help you in a key value format. So this is one of the example I gave you, like that it can be mapped for your instance types, hypervisors, what has been used in the backend. And you also have a condition section where, as you know, you can specify a condition, that in what condition it has to create, what condition it should not create, how the workflow has to happen. You can specify in the condition section. And you also have a transform section. So this transform section is majorly used for the serverless application. Now, if you remember, when we talked about CodeStar, there was something called SAM template, server application model. Now that server application model will get integrated to the CloudFormation template in the transform section. As you all know that CloudFormation can create the server-based services easily as we do for any other services. But how about serverless? For the serverless is where your SAM will come into picture, and that SAM template will get incorporated or integrated with the CloudFormation template in the transform section. So the next section is what we have is called a resource section. In the resource section is where we list out all the resources. Like for example, I want EC2, I want S3, load balancer, database, DynamoDB. So all those things will be listed in the resource section. And you will have an output section where you can define what can be the output of this template. After successfully running this template, what should be the output? Now, for example, if you're running a web application using this template, or you're running an infrastructure for web application using this template, you would want the output as the DNS name or the public IP of that, so that I can just see the output and say I will have a URL, and I can just click on that URL and access the website. I do not have to go to the EC2 dashboard again and pick up the public IP address from there, and I don't want to do that manually. So here I can use the output section to generate that output in the runtime, and then I can easily pick it up from the CloudFormation dashboard only. Or I can use this particular output in different services, and I can make an end-to-end automation. Now, as you can see, all of these sections are not mandatory. The only section which is mandatory is your resource section. Your resource section has to be there for a code to run. If the resource section is not there, your code will not run. The only required section is a resource section. So this is how your template will look like. So these are the different sections what you will have in your particular section. This is written in JSON, and as you can see, considering all that, this is how the sections will be listed. But if you want only resource section, you can do that as well.
So guys, this was our expert from team K21 Academy. And if in case you missed upon any concept, and if you want to dive deeper to any concept, then we have something really special for you. We have our free class on AWS DevOps for Beginners certification along with some demo. In this free class, you'll be learning about why learn DevOps and on AWS Cloud, what is AWS DevOps, who should be learning about it, CI/CD pipelines. You'll be getting a demo. You'll also be getting some hands-on labs and job opportunities as well. So in order to register for this free class, all you have to do is just log on to k21academy.com/AWS DevOps 02. And after that, you'll be seeing this kind of interface. You just have to click on book your free seat now and add your event date according to your availability, enter your name, your email address, your phone number, and click on yes, save my seat. Moving ahead, you'll be seeing this kind of URL on the extreme right. Save that URL, add it to your calendars, save it, and I will see you in the free class. Till then, keep learning.